Hello, I'm Andi Dimitriadou and I work as Certification Services Executive at the ICAR Secretariat. Today I will walk you through this presentation of ICAR's services in the animal identification sector. I will explain the various services and how they can help ensure that the identification devices that are on the market are compliant with the appropriate ISO and ICAR test protocols. Before we start, let me take a step back and say a few words about ICAR. We're an INGO with nearly 120 members from 60 countries all over the world. Our full members include the competent research institutes, recording organizations, breeders associations, etc., plus our associate members that are largely livestock-related equipment manufacturers. The aim of ICAR is to promote the development and improvement of animal identification, animal performance recording, and animal evaluation on the farms. Among the services that we provide, we produce guidelines, we certify products and processes, we do genetic evaluations through Interball, we share knowledge through our annual conferences, webinars, publications, etc. Our activities are summed up in our strapline, Network Guideline Certification. These services are developed with the help of our numerous subcommittees, working groups, and task forces. And one of ICAR's 4 subcommittees is that of animal identification. Since 1995, we have tested independently nearly 600 livestock identification devices according to our guidelines. All the products that meet the ICAR and ISO criteria are certified. These criteria cover a wide range of the product's design and performance. Through our certification work, we help authorities and farmers select high-quality products for their food production systems. In the context of animal identification, we offer certification services for both electronic devices like RFID ear tags, boluses, and injectable transponders at the companion animals field, and the conventional so-called visual ear tags. Manufacturers come to us to certify that their products make sure that they comply to the latest ISO and ICAR standards. With respect to the electronic ID devices, we're the registration authority of ISO, meaning that we are the only competent authority that is authorized to register manufacturer codes used in the radio frequency identification of animals in accordance with ISO standards 11784 and 11785. The performance test is also an optional test for the evaluation of further characteristics of the device, more than those covered by the conformance test. It includes modulation amplitude, resonance frequency, minimum activation, field strength, etc. Regarding the conventional ear tags, we test and certify the composition and material composition and environmental performance of the ear tags according to the ICAR standards. The test is performed in 2 phases. The preliminary assessment, which is a limited testing of the ear tag design, locking mechanism, and application, while the laboratory test, if the preliminary is successful, tests a wide range of other characteristics. The RFID ear tags can also be fully certified as regards the quality and performance of both the external plastic material and the internal transponder. The certification procedure is quite straightforward. Manufacturers apply for a test. We provide the information about the samples, how to be prepared and submitted to the test center, and we issue the invoice to be taken care of in advance of the test. The laboratory carries out the tests and delivers the report to us. We check the report and share it with the manufacturer, together with the ICAR certificate if the test was successful. A copy goes to the ISO Working Group 3, also for electronic devices, and to the ID subcommittee for information. And the new certified device is published on the ICAR website. The service of recertification provided by ICAR is to guarantee that the constant quality of the devices that have been certified. It is an optional service, and manufacturers are free to apply or not. Once recertified, the device remains on the ICAR website for another 5 years as certified, with the latest date of certification indicated. You can see here the links of the pages that list all the certified devices on the ICAR website, both for RFID and conventional, and they're continuously updated. ICAR also developed a few years ago the voluntary sampling of ID devices. This is a service aimed for competent authorities that wish to certify the quality of the ID devices that are on the market. It is not a certification service. It is rather a way to ensure that the devices are indeed remain indeed compliant with the appropriate ISO and ICAR standards. It's a tool that is particularly helpful in the context of tenders and procurement processes. A new service that is being developed in this year in 2021. It is the field validation for certified identification devices. It is aimed for ear tags, both electronic and conventional. The idea is to carry out regular samplings from the market and have them tested at the ICAR accredited laboratories in order to make sure that they remain the same as originally certified and still compliant with the ICAR and ISO standards. So it is therefore a quality assurance service. The devices that will be involved in the field validation scheme will obtain an advanced level of certification, having, let's say, the status of certified and field validated. So it will be a continuous, regular validation scheme. In this process, we are consulting key stakeholders in the sector like competent authorities and manufacturer. And the idea is also to carry out a trial during this year. Basically, the procedure will consist in the following steps that you see in this graph. So the first time the manufacturer will apply to ICAR, indicated the certified products to be validated. ICAR will draw a sampling plan, identifying the types of tests to be done, and also the agencies that would do the actual sampling in the various countries. Those agencies will be asked to do the sampling and send the samples to the ICAR test center. The test report will be shared with the manufacturer, together with a certificate if the results are successful. So the product will be certified and field validated. And this is going to be acknowledged also on the ICAR website. Subsequently, the validation scheme will be repeated regularly, for example, every 1 or 2 years, through sampling and annual reporting, in order for this advanced level of certification to be maintained and renewed. This matrix is a simple representation of the levels of certification for the ID devices. For the electronic ones, we have the first level that includes the conformance test and the optional performance test. The second level, we have the environmental performance and material composition test on top of the test of the conformance test of the electronic part. And the third level is what we are developing now, the certification and validation, that includes the field validation on top of the other 2 levels. The same logic goes for the conventional ear tags, although of course we don't have the first level there because the electronics part is not involved. A word about the ICAR guidelines, which are the output of the work done by ICAR's subcommittees and working groups, which are composed of experts, researchers, scientists, and practitioners from all over the world. They're freely available on the ICAR website. They're organized in 20 sections that deal with all aspects of animal identification and recording. The one involved in the identification device certification is section 10. It includes 6 procedures and the related appendices that describe the actual technical aspects of the tests and the standards that must be met by a device in order to pass the tests and be certified. I hope the information was clear and helpful. I will be glad to answer any questions or receive your comments on any issue related to animal identification and certification of ID devices. So please feel free to drop me an email at andy@icar.org. Thank you for your attention and thank you for joining the first virtual ICAR annual conference hosted by the Netherlands. Tot ziens.